to be here too, especially at this meeting because it's really fun. We think that Halloween Tonight's my favorite. So, if your friends aren't here and they can be, remind them to come. We're gonna go ahead and move into a period of opening roll call led by Pro Temp Tucker.
Howdy, please say your name. Please say howdy when I say your name. SPG Mallory. Chief Justice Wakefield.
Howdy.
Speaker Casino.
Howdy.
Chair Horton. Chair Rice. Chair Kim.
Howdy.
Chair Williams.
Howdy.
Chair Chu.
Howdy.
Chair Patel.
Howdy.
Chair Hurt.
Howdy.
Chair Teague. Senator Vaughn. Senator Armiotti-Florio. Senator Owen. Senator Smith. Senator Allen. Senator Jackson. Senator Royal. Senator Attaway. Senator Healy.
Howdy.
Senator Richard. Senator Schmidt. Senator Williams. Austin Williams. Senator Yost. Senator Collins. Senator Vaconco. Senator Mittens. Senator Smith. Senator Westlake. Senator Ben Williams. Senator Long. Senator Graham.
Howdy.
Senator Alvarez. Senator Burnside. Senator Hughes. Senator Willis.
Howdy.
Senator Wupperfeld. Senator Baggin. Senator Admet. Senator Barber. Senator Becker. Senator Brown. Senator Clark. Senator Cleaner. Senator Flores. Senator Garcia. Senator Glazer. Senator Glover. Senator Hall. Senator Hicks. Senator Honey. Senator Kaiser. Senator Murray. Senator Pesek. Senator Poe. Senator Sanders. Senator Hargrove.
Howdy.
Senator Maynard. Senator Nathan Williams. Senator Bassoni.
Howdy.
Senator Bradley. Senator Cho. Senator Dow. Senator Medvedev. Senator Shuck. Senator Wells. Senator Wu. Senator Sanchez. Senator Sloan. Senator Steele.
Howdy.
Senator Sykes. Senator Vanderheiden. Senator Wilkins. Senator Schwartner. Senator Knott. Senator Lambert. Senator Ebel.
Howdy.
Senator Lemasters.
Howdy.
Hold. Okay. With that, we will now move into the invocation and pledges of allegiance led by Natalie Troyer on behalf of the Student Wellbeing Committee.
Dear Lord, thank you for this time to have to gather as a student senate. Lord, I just ask that all the conversation in this room remains civil and just reflects well on student government and also on you, Lord. That's the most important part, is that we're respectful, because everyone in this room is a child of yours, Lord, and first and foremost, we are all children of yours, Lord. So I just pray that throughout this meeting, the different political things wouldn't come into effect, Lord. We could just focus on glorifying you and working for the better of the student body. Amen. And if you will. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One next flag, and allegiance to the United, one day under God, one indivisible.
We thank her for her time. We will now move into the mission statement Aggie Honor Code led by our longest serving Senator, Chair Patel.
The Texas A&M University Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. And Aggie does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do.
We will now move into a period of open forum. Pro Temp Tucker, do we have anyone for open forum? Wait, hold on. Where's the presentation? Found it. All right, with that, you're open for a creative presentation beginning at half.
A motion, I move to extend period for by 4 minutes.
Seeing that a motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and amendable as to time and will require majority vote. We will attempt to do this via general consent. Do I see any objections to this motion? Being none, this motion does pass.
Senator Mayor, I have a special guest here today from the Business Knowledge Program. This is a program that I participated in, and it really changed my career. So here today to talk a little more about it.
Guys, thank you for your hospitality. Like Lauren was saying, the Disney College program is something that kind of changed my career too. You know, I know my time here is brief, so I'm gonna keep it quick. So the Disney College program, it's a 4 to 7 month long internship where you get to live in Orlando, Florida, while you live, learn, and earn at Walt Disney World. So you'll become a cast member and be put in one of the 20 roles. During your time as a guest learner in one of those roles, you'll be able to network with professionals. Like, for example, I'm a sport management major here at Texas A&M, and I got to work at the ESPN complex. And with that, I had access to everyone in the ESPN headquarters in Bristol, and I was able to like pull email a bunch of people and talk to them about future career opportunities. And then you also learn transferable skills. Maybe you don't want to work for Disney in the future as a career, but you learn a lot of skills. You get Disney, which is Fortune 100 company, on your resume. You make yourself more marketable as an applicant. And then finally, they also offer a lot of fun program experiences. For example, trips around Orlando, offer classes like sign language class, a bunch of history classes. They also offer a bunch of fun parties. So qualifications, I'm sure everyone in here is, and we're all college students. We've all hopefully maybe completed a semester here at A&M. There's a catch. If you're a senior and you're wanting to do it and you're graduating this semester, you can do it up to 2 years after you graduate. And it's open for all majors. So again, I said I'm a sport management major. HR. And then I knew someone there who worked for an attraction. They're an engineering major. And they want to become an Imagineer and help build roller coasters. So funny thing enough, applications actually close I think at the end of this week for the upcoming spring semester. But don't fret, the applications for the 2026 fall semester are opening up in early January of this year. And my email is right up there. You can scan to learn information, and then I have like a little gift for y'all later. That's something.
Thanks. With that, our presenter is now open for a period of question and answer. Do I see any questions for a presenter? I see Senator Willis.
Senator Willis, on campus caucus. How does the application admission work? Is it rolling, or do they review all of them after all of the applications are received?
Great question. So it's a rolling application, but once the spots are filled up, it will.
Any other questions? I see Senator Masters.
Chief Selections, freshman August. How many spots are
For like just A&M in general, or so I think A&M when I went, so I did it this past year, I think there was 26 other Aggies, but it's very large. I mean, the sooner you apply, the better. And it's more of like if you apply now, you might not get in because it closes off, but there's always a good chance that you're not friend.
Senator Hargrove.
Senator Hargrove, College of Education, Ms. Darwin. I kind of want to ask a little bit more about your experience. Kind of what are the things that you've done?
Great question. So like I mentioned, I got to work at the ESPN complex doing guest operations. So I worked in the parking lot, I ushered events, I drove around athletes, I helped people with park entry. And then while that was closed down, I worked, has anyone ever been to Disney World? Okay. Oh wow, that's my Sweet. I worked at a ride in Epcot called Journey into Imagination with Figment. So that's like more of a kid ride, but it was still really cool. I got to work with people all around the world. Like I said, you got to make connections. I worked with people from Mexico, Canada, United Kingdom, South Korea. and Japan. But mainly during my time there, my main goal was to make sure other people's vacations for athletes competing had, as we say, a magical time and a fun time. Memorable time.
All right, these are open 1 minutes or less. Perfect, we thank him for his time. All right, with that, we will now move into the approval of the October 15th, 2025 meeting minutes. Do I see any objections to the minutes? Seeing none, these minutes do pass. With that, we will now move into the swearing in of the Senate officials. So will y'all come to the floor and they will be sworn in by our associate justice. Reminder to everyone that we stand up for swearing.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
To faithfully execute to the best of my ability.
to faithfully execute to the best of my ability
The duties of the office of state your office.
the duties of the office of
The Texas A&M University Student Government Association.
the Texas A&M Student Association
To uphold the honor of the same.
to uphold the honor of the same
At all times to protect the welfare of the student body.
at all times.
And to promote good relations between the students.
As well as good relations with the students
And those concerned with the university.
and those concerned with the university.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, with that, we have a special presentation by Safab.
Oh my gosh, thank you, the Lord, y'all got the one that I sent.
Yes, got it.
So, basically, I made this on the, and I don't know why, but I figured I could present them. here. But that was not going to happen, so I had to quickly screenshot every slide, turn it into a PDF real quick, and you'll see it's there in bold letters. Presentation amended, because the first one I had sent only had the first slide right there that says board recommendations. And that was just not good. I don't know how we're gonna distribute these, but I have a supplemental form for this presentation that everybody should have, so come and get them. That'll be great. That'll be great. Thanks so much. Give away one of mine. Is it possible to go into full screen?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? All right, well, that's.
We can. Just. this button. There.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. All right. So my name is Clayton Kahn. Said it on the first slide. I've been looking for the past 2 minutes now, so you probably know me by now. But basically, I'm the chair of the Student Affairs Student Advisory Board. Why are we? It's pretty simply summed up in the next slide. That's a couple of lines that me and Mr. Reber came up with, but basically we're a 9-member board of undergraduate and graduate students. And we're tasked with distributing some of the potential allocations for the university available fees, or the UAF, the University Available Funds. But basically, the portion of overages that are allocated to the student affairs that we could potentially have fully allocated to our budget for the upcoming fiscal year are then decided on by us, by all the departments coming to us. And they request specific individual things that they need for themselves. And then we debate whether or not they should get them. And the results of that process, and it is a fairly long process. I mean, we've been going at this for about a year now, are in this packet and are in this presentation. I just want to say that the board is decided on those 9 members. Well, sorry, the chair myself is decided on by the GPSG and SGA, specifically the student body president and the speaker of the Senate. So I think you should be confident in us being a more than representative board, as well as the 9 members. So with the blessing of the presidents of both GPSG and SGA and the speaker of the Senate, I then go on and decide on who the 9 members will be, along with them as well. They're in the discussions for those 9 members, and y'all confirmed us. There was some talk about this being a confirmation, but it's not. I just want to say that. We're not confirming any members today. We're just talking about our recommendations. Okay, so with that being said, we'll roll into the actual data here. So this is just the funding summary. You'll see on the left, that's the request distribution. That's the one-time funding that was requested and the recurring funding. Each department can choose whether or not they need a one-time funding request or something that goes on indefinitely, say a salary. So basically we received $1 million worth of recurring requests and $65,000 in those one-time funding requests. We ended up actually converting one of our recurring requests into one-time funding, and you'll actually find that that is specifically addressed in the supplementals under one-time funding. But we conservatively looked at our requests and we narrowed it down to about $689,000 worth of recurring requests that we recommended, as well as $90,000 worth of one-time requests. And we can get into further specifics on the next slide. Specifically, I just brought right back up that recommendation distribution, but then the next slide should be specifically recurring. And then there's another slide that shows us the actual distribution. So 16% of those requests, as a board, we voted on unanimously. We thought they should go through that. I believe that represented about 3 specific requests. And then you'll see the ladder. 8-1 was 25% of those distributions. Sorry, 25% of those recommendations. We recommended 7-2. This is very important because when we get these requests and we decide what goes for, specifically everything above 5-4, of course, is recommended. But what the administration is going to do is they're going to see the most prominent of those requests. So your 9-0s or 8-1s or 7-2s, and that's going to decide for the administration what really gets funded. So basically, beyond 7-2 is where we commonly see most of our items getting funded. And you'll see those specifics about the specific items, they're in your supplemental sheet. So if you want to know what was 9-0, what was 8-1, those specific line items, they're in the sheet. Next slide. Thank you so much. And you'll see specifically, I then broke it down by our specific differentials. So 9-0, 8-1, 7-2, 6-3, 5-4. And then I specifically list right here the departments, and those abbreviations are defined on your final sheet. You'll see them at the back. There's a departmental key supplemental that will help you to translate some of these little abbreviations. But I just wanted y'all to understand which departments based on our deliberations and where they stood on our priority ranking. Next slide. Awesome. So I just brought this back up in the presentation so I could go into one-time funding, which should be the next slide. And the next slide. I'm sorry about that, y'all. So here we go. This is our one-time distribution. I made it really easy. Inside of that little parentheses, you'll see that there's a 3 and then there's the distribution. So the actual vote differential, how we voted on it. So number 1 to the left, near disability resources, that's going to be our top recommendation for one-time funding. And that's that $20,000 request. Our second most worthy recommendation is the Department of Multicultural Services for that $45,000 request. Third is the Career Center. Now that's that one that we took from our recurring funding and we took it down into one-time funding. And that is also specifically listed, as I said, in the supplemental under one-time funding, if you really want to look into our specifics on as to why we did that. But next slide, please, ma'am. Thank you so much. This is the total distribution, both one-time and recurring, by specific funding amount for all of those departments. So that's kind of what it looks like when you really divvy it up. And then for some weird reason, I brought it up both as money and percentage, as if that really makes a difference. I thought that might, I don't know, make it more interpretable or understandable. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, I gotta be honest about that. These are important. You know, they might not have been recommended, but I certainly wanted to highlight them. So this is what we did not recommend. You'll notice the largest piece of the pie is the department that I was the liaison for, the Vice President of Student Affairs. They have this really interesting generalist program. They've been working on it for a few years. We wanted to test the waters, and you'll see that in our recommendations. We chose the cheapest of those positions that they put forth to us. Those are full-time positions that they want to bring in. And we chose to fund one of them just to try it out. Also, you'll see Career Center and Student Life are in there. Career Center, those are all positions. So they were asking for jobs and questions.
All right, with that, our presenter is now open for a 5-minute period of question and answer. Do I see any questions for a presenter? I see Chair Hurt.
Chair Hurt. So I guess my question is, can you walk us through why we wanted to suddenly walk through the generalist?
Oh, now that is a great thing. So you'll see in the original recommendations, I don't know if I really did a good job highlighting that, but there was a significant amount of money that they were asking for, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, let me help you to understand this. The generalist program, when you really break it down, it is let's get some people in here and someone to manage them. So there was a $124,000 position just for managing 2 people. And what are those people's jobs? The 2 people under that manager? Well, their job is to go around and fill in the holes when, say, somebody leaves. So to fill in turnover gaps, or somebody gets fired, well, they come in and they replace. Now, just to fill in the workload until they get somebody to replace that generalist. And we thought we wanted to encourage innovation, which is why we approved 1, the cheapest position. But we also thought it was a little ridiculous to go to full. It was almost $300,000 for all 3 positions. For what many on the board refer to as sounds like an extended internship. So that's kind of the thinking behind that. Yeah, no, of course.
Any other questions for the presenter? I see Senator Willis.
Senator Willis, On Campus Caucus. Could you briefly describe some of the criteria that you used when evaluating whether to grant this funding or whether not to?
That is a great question. So what do you mean by criteria? It's really, I guess you would say it's subjective. It's to the board as a whole. How does a specific individual feel based on the information presented to them, which is the budget for that department and their request and what that thing is, and we receive presentation. that specifically describe and go into detail on what the request will be doing. And then they just take that information and they decide for themselves if they support it or not. And that's when we get those voting differentials that you see there, Mr. Willis, where it's like 8-1, 9-0, where it's a unanimous decision. So it would really be up to the individual person. But as to the data that they receive, it is the amount of money that it will cost and the budget for that entire department. So, did that answer your question?
Sure.
Sure, again, sorry. So.
Of course.
Wanting to see, why are we seeing such an increase in staff positions?
Couldn't tell you, as in, why are we seeing an increase in requests to the board for staff positions? I would assume that has to do with limitations in the expansion of funding due to recent legislation. We heard that a lot. Legislation that is stopping increases in funding and especially increases in student fees. And that's actually great that you asked that, because I do want to highlight anything that we do on this board based on current Texas legislation is not going to raise your student fees. You don't have to worry about that. That's usually something that brings a lot of contention to student government. How's it going to affect my pocketbook? Thank God it's not going to. And thanks to the thanks to the state legislature, it definitely can't. But I just want to say that's probably because most of these departments aren't receiving direct increases in funding right now. Of course, thank you.
Senator Lemasters.
Just to ask you this question, Marcus.
Yes.
You did refund that one, or was it the $45,000 correction?
That was an interesting request. So in the Department of Multicultural Services, and this is in the Memorial Student Center, I was actually very surprised by this one. So they have a lot of literal wall outlets, I think wall outlets, that just don't work. And I guess because of some weird negotiation about how DMS uses that space, it's on them to get that fixed, and they don't have the money to fix those wall outlets. You'd think it would be an MSC thing to where that building would be responsible for all its wall outlets. I don't want to focus on that too much though. They also basically right now have people for the wall outlets that do work. They have long extension cords that run along the floor so that students can plug in laptops. And that's where the furniture comes in. They want to supplement not only those super long extension cords that are hazards with actual tables, you know, the ones that we sometimes get to use that have the little like thing that flips up and you can plug in, you know, because it's got the wall outlets. They want furniture like that. Didn't realize it was that expensive.
Please wrap up in 1 sentence.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Tables with wall outlets and infrastructure that needs to be repaired.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We thank him for his time. All right, with that, we will now move into the consideration of our consent agenda. This includes Senate Resolution 7831, the Fish Fest Resolution, Senate Resolution 7832, the Diwali Resolution, and Senate Resolution 7833, the Affluent Center Resolution. Do I see any objections to the approval of the consent agenda? Seeing none, these pieces do pass. With that, we will now move into a period of new business, beginning with SA 7805, the Absence Excusal Act. Will the author please come to the floor? The sponsor coming to the floor. Yes, yeah. Perfect. Hold on, guys, just a second, okay? Protect your phone. All right, with that, you guys are open for a 10-minute period presentation beginning at Howdy.
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 Names and
Senator Batten on campus caucus.
Senator Abel, question caucus. So we're going over the Absence and Excusal Act, which basically with the Absence Excusal Act, you have 6 unexcused absences or a total of 11 absences. But there's a bunch of different ways to like substitute and get rid of those absences. You have like things like talking to certain people within city government. And we're tabling, we're going to other committee meetings on those days as well. But basically what we're adding is another way to get rid of those absences.
So the section that we've added says, the speaker of the student senate may designate other events or activities that senators can attend or perform to remove an unexcused absence. If the senator has no remaining unexcused absences on their record, an excused absence will be removed.
Perfect. All right. With that, they're now open for a period of questions. Do I see any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, we thank them for their time. That can be sent to the Rules and Regulations Committee. Good. All right. With that, we will now move into SA 7806, the Elections Reform Act. Will the author of the piece please come to the floor? All right, you're now open for a 10-minute period of presentation beginning at Howdy.
Hi, Senate. Grove College of Education and Human Development. Yes, I am dressed as Julius Caesar today. If any of you lunge at me, I am prepared. So this is the Ag Elections Act. This is essentially this is essentially an act that has worked towards making the elections better, improving our integrity and our accountability of our student elections here on campus. So I'm going to just skip past all the jargon of the whereases and just move straight into the enactments because I'm sure we all want to go home at this point. So in Let It Be Enacted number 1, the main thing that we're changing here, or that I propose that we change, is instead of may be posted before the elections, it shall be posted. We want to ensure that before the elections, every student has the opportunity to know who they're voting for, has the opportunity to see their platforms. Got a little bit of a small kind of a structural redoing there, excuse me. Nothing changed in there. Second one is about post-elections. So essentially we used to have rules that governed when you picked up your materials, when you picked up your stuff, your election materials. Those got taken away in previous years. I'd like to add those back in a new section. 3 class days is what I propose. I am completely amendable to those 3 class days. Should the committee that rules and regulations decide that that's needed. But currently I think it is important that we remove our posters or signs, especially the yard signs that we have on our campus, just because they are a little disruptive of our university functions. I can say from a transportation standpoint, when we had construction along Pemberthy, sorry, my voice is in and out today, we did have to spend time taking those signs off the ground. And so for them to be up into the summer, well into the summer, after an election in March, it's about 4 months. That's pretty excessive for post-election materials to still be on. So I'm suggesting that we bring those regulations back to have post-election regulations where you have to pick up the materials. The next Let It Be Enacted is in 3. This is over campaigning. This will protect anybody that also incurs, nowadays we have campaign staffs. You didn't know that. I'm sure many of you have campaign staff. This also regulates them as well. They are not above the law. And this protects anybody who knowingly disseminates any information that is false about another candidate. I have seen this in years prior about elections that we have seen people lie about others, essentially online. I don't think that's okay. I think that should be regulated, especially if it is a knowing lie, because that can completely tarnish somebody's reputation. Further down in this section, these are some new regulations I'd like to put in place. So specifically for K, this protects our academic spaces here on campus, which are currently protected. We've removed academic spaces from a protected area in previous years. I'd like to see our academic spaces once again protected from elections, just because these are essentially like our holy places here on campus. We're here to get a degree, right? And so our academic spaces should be protected from our campaigning. That way they do not disrupt the class. That way we don't come into contention with any regulations or rules that are already in place with our current universe. In L, we have protections against distracting sounds, speakers, anything that's used around our classrooms. I can say from personal experience for the last 4 years, I have been around a classroom where a speaker has been used, and it is very distracting. You can hear it through the walls. So I want to make sure that that specifically is protected, just because we don't want any distractions in our academic space. M protects from our residents. If we can scroll down just a little bit, this adds some regulations on when you can campaign in residential areas. Also requires that you ask permission of our tenants, of our residential area owners, of our property managers for permission to campaign in those areas. We have had issues before. We've actually had, I believe in the 75th session, a couple of property managers report students that were campaigning on their spaces. We just want to ensure that we're also being respectful of our city, of our area, our community outside of this campus. And I believe these regulations are what protect our residents. This is the use of artificial intelligence. As we know, artificial intelligence is growing and increasing on our campus here now. We did have a candidate that specifically that I also ran with used AI this past year that I did not support at all. So I believe it is time that we introduce regulations that are about artificial intelligence, excuse me, not internal affairs, artificial intelligence, and the creation and generation of AI to be used against other candidates. And then, of course, that last one, O, is about open records requesting. We want to protect our students here on campus, protect their personal information for use for campaigning, because that was a consistent issue this past year. Next is about campaign reporting. I wanted to shorten down that period for reporting. It has been extended. It's been changed over the past few years. I think 72 hours is a very generous time frame. I think if you can't submit evidence that something is wrong within 48 hours, probably shouldn't be submitted. I personally wanted to shorten that down even more, but we'll see how the committee takes that. Additionally, formatted that way, we know 7 o'clock, it looks more professional in our code. And then these last bits are about frivolous campaigning. So I'm going to read this part specifically because it can be a little bit tricky. But in D, candidate supporters or campaign staff who knowingly submit false, malicious, or frivolous violation reports shall be subject to disciplinary action. A frivolous campaign or violation report is one that lacks evidence, is repetitive after a ruling has been made, or is intended to harass or overwhelm a candidate or the election commission. Essentially, you can't submit the same report over and over and over just to annoy a specific candidate, just to annoy the election commissioner. We've seen this in years prior. We haven't had a big issue with this last year, but I want to make sure that was something protected in our code. And then the first offense, second offense, that goes along the standard regulations for our normal tier and tier 2 regulations. And then lastly, in our final let it be enacted, if we can scroll down just a little bit more, we have monetary payments, finance forms, stuff that we're changing. Basically, we just need to put it all down. We've had some issues and contention about what needs to be put down in our finance reports these past few years. These are regulations that I believe will especially help in our financial reports. And with that, I'm open for questions.
With that, our presenter is now open for a 5-minute period of question and answer. Do I see any questions for the presenter? I see Chairperson.
Chair Patel, Constituency Affairs. How do you differentiate supporters and campaign staff?
I believe because nowadays, I don't think it's my discretion, it's the election commissioner's discretion for thought. But how I see it is campaign support or staffers are those who are working for a campaign. I mean, they're physically running, you have chief of staff, you have all these different positions that campaigns start these days. Those I think would all qualify as campaign staffers. You could ask the same question about what to support. I think it's completely open to the election commissioner's discretion on what those two things consider as. So if we want to micro legislate on that, more than happy to help as much.
Chair Hurt.
Chair Hurt. I wanted to just see the definition of like near, right? Anything about like near.
Near academic buildings, again, I think that's something that's up to the election commissioner's discretion. Not all academic spaces are used all the time. I think if it's an academic building, that's one that's being used for classrooms. We do have definitions in our Texas A&M University rules and laws that define what an academic space is. I believe that the election commissioner should defer to those definitions when putting a ruling in place. But again, I think that's the election commissioner's discretion. I don't want to put all the power, strip that away from our election commissioner. I believe that the discretion.
Senator Steele.
Senator Steele, Lafayette, Caucus, permission to preface
Briefly.
So I just want to start off by saying I am very much in support of regulating frivolous violations. It's a very good thing to do. However, I wanted to ask, how do you see this being enforced? Do you see this being a violation that would have to be removed, or is this something the election commissioner comes on board with?
Yes. If we can scroll up just a little bit, I can show you a little bit more here. I did try to define it as well as I possibly could. Again, election commissioner's discretion on what that looks like. If you see, and let me remind you that there's nothing in our code that says that a violation has to be submitted anonymously. If the election commissioner wants, she can add names to it. So I believe that might be an area in which we can catch people on frivolous reporting, or even tracking emails. But truly, that's up to the discretion of the election commissioner if they see that. Of course, we have our judicial system in place should somebody be falsely reported for that. I believe that it's completely up to the election commissioner. I believe that define that in there, yes.
Yes, granted.
So in essence, in order to be in trouble for committing privilege violations, that would be on the election commissioner's behalf and not like nobody would have to submit a violation that somebody's.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Senator Dealey?
Senator Dealey, calling from Arkansas. Bills, I like the intent behind it, and I like how you kind of define frivolous, but under section 2 campaigning, when you say false information, are you at all worried that it could be misconstrued down the line?
It could be, but I believe if truly something is false, then hopefully one will be able to defend whether or not it's true. Would have physical evidence and proof that something is false, especially if it's about a campaign, say.
Madam Speaker, I have a motion.
State your motion.
Chair Patel, Constituency Affairs, move to accept your question to 5 minutes.
Seeing that motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and amendable as to time and will require a majority vote. We will attempt to do this via general consent. Do I see any objections to the motion? Seeing none, period is extended by 5 minutes.
For example, say somebody reports something, and this is completely not an actual report, but say Speaker Justino, say somebody reported her for wearing a giraffe on a Halloween meeting. We can show physical evidence and proof. We have video proof that she is in fact wearing a cow, right? So I believe that would be a way that we can prove to ourselves, the one who's being violated against can always go to the election commissioner to show proof of that, or we can use our judicial system again. Typically, you verify information.
Senator Vivanco?
Senator Vivanco, Bush School, is the AI, like, no? Is that specifically for like malicious use of AI, or is it including like, if someone is manipulating images on like Canva, through like ChatGPT, like how, or is that gonna be fully the discretion of the election commission, or like, where do you draw the line there?
So anything that's identified as AI. So I'm not sure if Canva is AI or not, but if it is AI and it was identified as an AI system, then that is what these regulations cover. Hopefully there should be no discretion on whether or not a election commissioner has to decide when something is AI or not.
Chair Patel?
Chair Patel, Constituency Affairs, you talk about restricting campaign 5 minutes prior to scheduled last, and also digital campaigning, you talk about prior to that in the same subsection. So if someone has an Instagram post up from 2 days ago, and it's still up 5 minutes prior to the class, you need to like delete it and repost it. Class.
That's a good point. Can we scroll back up to that really quickly? Sorry, I don't have my computer in front of me. I'd like to look when I properly put it. I believe that was a little bit more right there. I think in my mind, when I think digital advertising, and we definitely probably need to change this to make this more specific. I think more of like TV screens, I think projectors, just in my mind, because that's how I've used digital advertising actually in this organization to find it that way. I do see how that is a problem, so I recognize that that has changed in the committee. But other than that, I do support the use of no soliciting events 5 minutes prior to a scheduled class, just because typically that is when an academic space is starting to rile down and professors are starting to set class.
Where should I report?
Briefly.
In a similar vein, like continuing properties, 9 AM to 8 PM, if someone has like a physical like sign playing on their lawn, we actually yank it up at 7:59 each night, 9 AM each morning.
That is a good question. I think we need to put the word active campaigning there because we have actively described that as the active solicitation of votes. Again, another change will be. The point of reading these things so you can catch.
Senator Steele?
There's still off the spots under the AI section. Also, North for creating candidate. You really think that someone makes an AI video like Donald Trump or Beyonce? Bo Jackson Steele. That's the rental car, that rental our elections.
I think it threatens the reputation of our.
Okay.
Because say that you use a city official and they saw that on their Instagram and they decide to come to a site meeting, we can protect it. Be like, I didn't actually tell that person that I was supporting it. That's where those issues would come in conflict. Of course, obviously, if you see a video of Donald Trump supporting Senator Steele, hopefully you know that is false. Excuse me, an artificial intelligence video supporting Steele. Hopefully you would know that was false, but that's just for the protection of our reputation as in elections, our reputation as a student government.
Senator Glover.
If I like use the, you know, something critically often use it for that, it's almost for.
It's a good question. I think first off, if you were to prove something, depends on who's reporting this. So if you report somebody for falsely submitting information on another candidate, obviously you would have proof that that is false, because how would the election commissioner know that? You can't just say something is false and provide no proof about that. So I think the burden would be on the person who is reporting.
Chair Chu.
There's your student services. Commissioner Focus briefly. So it seems like there's a lot of like rules or a lot of unfinished things here in this. Would you consider withdrawing your act and then revising it completely before it hits committee and then presenting it again?
No, because the point of it going to committee is to fix all. That's why we go to committee.
Granted.
The reason I mentioned that was because if it just gets sent to committee, it would match up like on the whole time and everything. Wouldn't it just be better if you fix these things that I really put into you and then present it again?
And I think no, because first off, I don't believe that the Relations Committee has a lot of work to do. Honestly, these are easy fixes that somebody could amend, or I could even send.
State your motion.
Chair Bartels, consider maybe something.
Seeing that a motion has been made and seconded is undebatable and amendable as to time and will require a majority vote. We will attempt to do this via general consent. Do I see any objections to the motion? Seeing none, this motion does pass.
So I believe this should go to committee. Honestly, these are things that somebody could send in. The point of having a committee meetings to discuss these issues. Rules and regulations is specifically talking about the rules and regulations, whether or not they work, whether they're loopholes. I think this is the proper committee to go to fix these. Additionally, we do have another way of fixing this is on the floor. If we see any of those loopholes still present, we have our friendly amendments, we have our normal amendments. So hopefully with about 3 rounds of checking this, even this 4th one right here, we would fix all of those things. Of course, I'm not a perfect person at writing code. So obviously there's going to be a few things that I missed, and there are a few things that we missed this last meeting too that were corrected as well. So I think that is the purpose of the Rules and Regulations Committee, to not only get your eyes on it, but to have a specific committee that knows rules and regulations to have their eyes. Fix it.
Chair Patel.
I would tell CA, can you define PAC-like entities?
Yes, so that was one that I was giving up discretion to the election commissioner. Of course, PAC-like entities are already described in normal elections for our federal government. That will be at the very bottom if you want to scroll to that area. But whatever is considered PAC-like entities by the election commissioner, again, I'm giving her full discretion on what this looks like. That's up to her.
Loud materials as separate from speakers and microphones, that also to the discretion of the election commission.
Yes, because obviously if you're chanting vote, vote, Eli Cartel outside of a classroom and it's disturbing this classroom, that would be a loud disturbance.
No. Senator Steele. What you're on? Oh, sorry. Patel.
Question to appearance is a voice loud material.
If that is so described to as by the election.
Senator Glover.
Sorry, permission to.
Briefly,
President, do you have a motion?
state your motion. State your motion.
Chair Plus, yeah,
Seeing that a motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and amendable as to time and will require a majority vote. We will attempt.
Yes.
Yes.
I will do a motion.
To make it 3 or make it 5.
I need a 5.
Made and seconded. It is undebatable and unamendable and require a majority vote. Will attempt to via general consent. Do I see any objections to the motion? Okay, seeing that an objection has been made, we will now move to a standing vote led by Pro Temp Tucker. All those in favor of the motion to extend the time by 5 minutes, please rise as you are able.
Yes.
Please be quiet while we're voting. All those opposed, please remain quiet while we're voting. All those opposed. By a vote of 23-3, this motion does pass. We're at Senator Glover. State your point. Director. Yes, just do it in case.
For giving these liberties to the election commission, it wouldn't encourage companies that would more some kind of, you know, everything talk about sound levels, et cetera, wouldn't have to be in the or it's just person's experience for this. These kinds of things.
So the reason we have an election commission is to handle these violations. If we just went to J-Court or away, kind of just be bypassing that election commission. I don't know if that was your question or not. But we as a Senate, we appointed that person to be in office. The executive cabinet elected that person to be in office, to be in that commission spot. So we too also kind of have the ability to be able to oversee that position as well, especially being the student body president has the ability to be fired on. So I think trusting that we made the right decision and putting the right person in the right spot, I think that's what we should have been looking for when we were looking for an election commissioner. Again, if any of those issues do come up, there's a report that's made and you're like, no, it wasn't loud. And we can overturn that. Again, the burden of proof would have to be pretty great for that. Probably need video evidence for that to even be ruled upon. Then you can submit that to the judicial support to.
No. Senator, nope. Chair Purcell.
Chair Patel, Sufficiency Affairs, do you agree that the election regulations should be held to the highest standard of clarity, given how close we get ready? Campaigns, see violations this fall.
I do, yes, but I also recognize that in the election regulations, it also says that the election commissioner has discretion over how the regulations are.
Chair Chu.
So how would you, or what's your opinion on the fact that the university really allows like people to manage, as speakers up and all that, wouldn't that be disruptive to classes, but why are we making this stipulation? The university already set speed. Why are we making this?
Yes, and I don't know if you saw, but there are regulations on bannering actually that are existed at this university. You're not supposed to do them in your classroom areas currently. That's why we kind of have these combined areas where you're supposed to be tabling and bannering as well. Those are the areas you're supposed to operate in. I just want to make sure that that was included in the election regulations as well. We do have quite a lot of regulations that are university based as well that are doubled up. I think this is a really important one that we should make already. And again, I just want to protect our classrooms, safety. We're here to earn degree. I don't want any distractions to disrupt any of our academic abilities or opportunities.
Madam Speaker, I make a motion.
State your motion.
Chair Hurt, motion to move to previous question.
Seeing that a motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and unamendable and required 2/3 majority vote. We will do this via standing vote led by Pro Temp Tucker. If
I'm actually out of order.
Oh, well, I didn't call you out of order.
I'm calling myself out of
Oh,
order.
okay.
Withdrawn.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to Senator Glover.
It was a question.
State your All right, we're gonna move on. You're out of order. Senator Steele, your question?
Might be the case wrong, but if there is any ruling that anybody being trained, that is made by the election commissioner at any time at all, they can make it. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And I think that should be an opportunity that any student should have. There are SEC universities, there are universities that I've visited before that don't even have a judicial system. Essentially, their election commissioner makes a decision. So it is a great privilege that we have here to be able to go through the judicial system and double check the information. And I just like to say I'm very appreciative of y'all's questions and y'all's feedback. Like this is definitely going to help when we move forward with this.
Madam Speaker. I raise to make a point of personal privilege.
State your point.
Chair Hurd, howdy, folks. Please keep your prefacing brief. Why we're going over a long time and we're trying to be really make sure that we have good discussion. But I may not be Chairman Horton, but I also do know the rules. So please keep it short and brief. Thank you.
Okay, with that, Senator Vivanco.
Senator Waldo Bushpool, can you talk or refer with any organization outside of SBA that could be affected by this, like class councils, the Young Leaders, or RHA?
Yes, so if you didn't know, there's other organizations that partner with us to be able to do their elections. We have our Honor Student Council, which elect their officers. We have our RHA officers, we have our class presidents, we have our class agents, and we even vote for our class youth. And so these are all different things that would also be affected by these regulations as well. So those are very important to take note of.
These
there
are
more
above and
elections.
sentence or less.
I believe these regulations will make elections better to be able to hold integrity and accountability in our elections.
All right, with that, we thank him for his time. With that, we will now move into SR 7834. Oh, it's going to rules and regs. Thank you. SR 7834, the Coach G resolution. Will the author please come to the floor?
Is Haley here? I'm gonna come up and stab you. No.
That's my style. I was disappointed you didn't sort of around this room in this country.
So it's too late.
All right, with that, our presenters are now open for a 10-minute period of presentation beginning at Howdy.
Howdy, Senate. Howdy, Senator Marco, College of Education and Human Development.
Senator Garcia.
And this is the Coach G resolution. So if you didn't know, Coach G has been our soccer coach here at Texas A&M University since its founding in 1993. Also, notably, that is when my mom started college. So he's been here longer than I've even been born, which is an amazing accomplishment already. He's done a lot of great things here on this campus. And so with his retirement, we wanted to write a resolution to be able to honor all of his accomplishments, including the most wins in SEC history of any program for soccer with 523 wins, which is also fifth in the NCAA. It's a very big accomplishment that Coach D has been able to drive our team to. TAMU is also the only, he's been the only head, Coach D is the only head coach that Texas A&M University has ever had. And his formation, he was selected as the coach, which is a pretty big win to be coached more than 3 decades. As we see, coaches are ever-changing in the climate and getting required these years. He also holds 18 conference wins between the Big 12, SEC, SWC, pretty amazing accomplishment. And he's also the 5-time conference coach of the year for both the Big 12 and the
He also has, led the Aggies to 26 consecutive NCAA tournament appearances. Eight conference championships, like you said, a college cup semifinal appearance, cementing his place among the most respected coaches in NCAA soccer history.
So we just wanted to honor him with this resolution, be able to say thank you for your support and your work and your leadership towards Texas A&M University and our athletics team. And with that, we're open to questions.
With that, the authors are now open for a period of questions. I'd say Senator Adams.
I do not actually. If you would go in. I'm not sure if there's something that we can put in this resolution, but I'm glad to know.
Do I see any other questions for the authors? Seeing none, we thank them for their time. With that, we'll now move into a period of debate on this piece, beginning with the first round of debate for this piece. Do I see any debate for this? Seeing none, we will now move into the first round of debate against this piece. Do I see any debate against this? Seeing none, we will now move into the second round of debate for this piece. Do I see any debate for this? Seeing none, we will now move into the second round of debate against this piece. Do I see any debate against? Seeing none, is the opinion of the chair that debate has become one-sided, we will now move into a vote on this piece. We will attempt to do this via general consent. Do I see any objections to the passage of SR 7834, the coach does? Seeing none, this piece does pass. That will now move into a period of open session. The floor is now open for motions. I see Chair Hurd.
Chair Hurd, LR, motion to close open session.
Being that a motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and undemandable and will require a 2/3 majority vote. Do I see any objections to the motion? We will now move into a standing vote led by Pro Temp Tucker. If you are in favor of the motion, please rise as you are able.
My personal privilege.
State your point.
Chair Patel, constituency affairs. We passed something through committee. We couldn't have our meeting in time to put it on the agenda, but we have the bill that we need to talk about. So I was gonna do that. So please, don't.
Thank you, Chair Patel.
Madam Speaker. Chair Hurd, go with that.
Perfect. Okay. Motion's been withdrawn. I see Chair Patel.
Chair Patel, constituency affairs. I move to consider the meeting.
Seeing that a motion has been made and seconded, it is debatable and amendable and will require a majority vote. We will start with debate for this motion. Do I see any debate for this? Being none, we'll now move into the first round debate against this motion. Do I see any debate against this? Seeing none, we will now move into the second round of debate for this motion. Do I see any debate for this motion? Seeing none, we will now move into the second round of debate against this motion. Do I see any debate against? Seeing that is the opinion of the chair that debate has become decided. We will now move into a period of voting on this motion. We will attempt to do this via general consent. Do I see any objections to this motion? Seeing none, this motion is passed. Hold author, please come. All right. Okay, go ahead. All right, with that, you're now open for a 10-minute period of presentation beginning at Howdy.
Charles, not there. I am. I'm doing that.
All right, you're open for a 10-minute period of presentation.
Howdy.
Howdy.
And Robert Offman, Senate. So this is our off here. It's
caucus. So this is the median GPA survey bill. This is basically just regarding the letter that Mallory put out. Student body president, or Mallory put out regarding, his idea to implement median GPA on, the actual official transcripts? Okay, on actual official transcripts. And we just want to basically get the temperature of the student body, and we want to get some public opinion as all good, legislation does. So introduced by myself and everyone else on LR. So whereas one, the Constituency Affairs Committee gathers general student opinions and sentiments regarding student government policies, and whereas two, student body president Carter Mallory on July 31st, 2025, called for transcript clarity and fairness alongside other peer institutions, and whereas three, student input is necessary for further policy input and implementation. Therefore, let it be enacted one, the Constituency Affairs Committee is tasked with conducting a survey regarding student opinion on transcript clarity. Let it be further regarding or enacted two. The survey shall solicit feedback on, but not limited to, median GPAs being displayed on transcripts, their preferences for a letter or numerical format to display GPAs, the display of major and/or class year GPA. Let it be further enacted three. The survey will be made publicly accessible by December 1st, 2025, and results shall be reported no later than one student senate meeting before receiving the final results. Let it be further enacted four. The chair of Legislative Relations Committee, chair of Constituency Affairs, the chief of Policy and Legislative Relations Commissioner shall have access to and deliberate on the analysis of the survey final results. This meeting shall be scheduled and occur within one calendar month of receiving the final results. Let it be further enacted five. A copy of this bill be sent to Carter Mallory, Allison Jacino, Brendan Third, to me, like Patel.
Perfect. With that, she's open for a period of question and answer. Do I see any questions for the presenter? Seeing none, we thank her for her time. All right, so this is the second reading of this bill. So we will now move into a period of debate on this bill. Sorry, of debate against this bill. Do I see any debate against this piece? Seeing none, we will move into the first round of debate for this piece. Do I see any debate for this piece? I see Chair Hurd.
Yeah.
2.5 minutes beginning at Howdy.
Howdy, Senate. Chair Hurd, been going into this, this is just obviously saying that we just need to report the issue, that need to major report. Reason that I wanted to get the airlines back over there, the maximum student input, brought up the right to know that convention. Please open with that, I will.
Hearing that the floor has been yielded to, we will now move into the second round of debate against this piece. Do I see any debate against this? Seeing none, we will now move into the second round of debate for this piece. Do I see any debate for this? Seeing none is the opinion of the chair that debate has become one-sided. We will now move into a period of voting on this piece. We will just via a standing vote led by Pro Tem Tucker. All those in favor of the passage of SB 7803, the median GPA survey bill, please rise as you are able. All those opposed? By a vote of 34-0, this piece does pass. We are now moving into a period of open session. The floor is now open for motions. Do I see any motions? I see Chair Williams. Seeing that motion has been made and seconded, it is undebatable and undemandable and require 2/3 majority vote. We will attempt this via general consent. Do I see any objections to the motion? Seeing none, this motion does pass. With that, we will now move into a period of committee reports, beginning with Pro Tem Tucker. Pro Tem Tucker, does anyone have questions for her? That was not right. Does anyone have questions for Pro Tem Tucker? Seeing none, we thank her for her time. We'll move to our rules and regulations. Chair, does anyone have any questions for Chair Horton? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. Oh, so sorry. We will now move to the Student Services Chair. Do we see any questions for Chair Chu? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. With that, we will now move to the Finance Chair. Do we see any questions for Chair Wright? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. With that, we will now move to the Community Relations Chair. Do I see any questions for Chair Williams? I see Chair Hurd.
Chair Hurd, let's go now with the committee.
So here recently, we've been so focused on, spending our time at City Hall, trying to get this part of the box figured out. I do want to thank Oliver, I do want to update y'all for one, the survey that was taken by, City Hall at the first public hearing. They did not get the results back that they wanted, instead they got the results back that we wanted, which is absolutely incredible. And we're doing. The thing is, I will say that I think we still only have one councilman on our side. So it's not looking too good, so I still need everybody to stay vocal, but stay polite. But make sure that the message is getting across that we do not want these parking restrictions as strict as they want. Other than that, that's all that we're doing our thing.
Perfect. Any other questions for the Chair? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. With that, we will now move to our Legislative Relations Chair. Do I see any questions for Chair Hurd? Chair Williams?
Chair Hurd, so going into it, we are looking at getting Goodwill funding. We're going to have a citizenship summit. This has been a thing that we're starting to work off with my committee, talking to Speaker Jacino as well a little bit. So hopefully they'll give us some great insight on how to promote citizenship engagement, civil engagement specifically, and promotion of democratic values and things of the sort. So really excited for that. Hopefully we get the Goodwill funding so we can pay for a lot of food, pay for nice facilities and things of the sort. That's really what's kind of been our main focus, and then helping y'all out and city council. I'm very proud of my committee members who went there and endured all the smelly old folks. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Chair. Seeing none, we thank him for his time. First Chair, do I see any questions for Chair Kim? I see Senator Ramonka.
Senator Bronco Bush will buy third-party applications, in your committee report. Do you mean like applying to the university, or can you expand on that?
Yeah, sure. Chair Kim, Academic Affairs, primarily the target right now is TechBet. However, there's a variety of other third-party applications on top of whatever that is already included in the campus. The provost office and the academic affairs vice president, we're all coordinating together to determine which of those are the highest priority in terms of affordability. However, if that answers your question, in terms of what those third-party applications.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for the Chair? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. With that, we will now move to the Constituency Affairs Chair. Do I see any questions for Chair Patel? Chair Hurd.
Chair Hurd.
Oh, dude, I think my mom got it for me for Christmas like a year ago. It's brand somewhere, Levi's. So where they sell Levi's jackets.
Any other questions for our Chair? Senator Willis.
Senator Willis, Von Kibiscakis, how are your constituents?
You know, constituents, from my observation, are enjoying the turn to fall weather. And that's all I got to say.
Any other questions for the Chair? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. As we are now moving to the Traditional Culture Chair. Do I see any questions for Chair T? Chair Williams.
Chair of Community Relations. I don't need that from your committee.
I sure do. So this week we passed the Diwali and fish patch resolutions. We introduced the marine side of the Bronco, writing those. We've got 6 pieces of legislation coming out of the committee in the next 2 weeks. That'll be super exciting. We I met with all three of our exec counterparts, potentially gonna do something with traditions, Richmond, maybe traditions Richmond in the remainder of this semester. Definitely gonna be something on the table with some collaboration with the Representation Commission, the Disability Subcommission, and the Accessibility Subcommittee. Let's see what we got for the list. Other than that, my committee shout out, Senator Batten. She has already had a super positive impact on our committee and is the first volunteer to do anything. And for our community collaboration shout out, Senator Hargrove, which did our meetings. That's all. And Senator Hurt left early.
With that, we'll move to our Executive Director of Operations. Do I see any questions for EDO Troyer? Seeing none, we thank her for her time. With that, we will now move to our period of executive reports, beginning with the Chief Justice. Does anyone have any questions for our Associate Justice? Chair Hurt.
Chair Hurt, what do you address?
I am a senator who's not allowed to speak.
Any other questions for the Associate Justice? Seeing none, we thank him for his time. With that, I will yield my chairship to our awesome R&R7, Chair Hurt. And I'm also going to tell you a little bit about exec.
Let's see if I can read English. Okay, with that, we will now move to a period of executive reports, beginning with Christina.
Howdy, Senate. All right, so a little bit from exec. Carter cannot be here because he's feeling sick, so first for him. But as far as exec goes, they're just excited to continue working with us, specifically on our parking initiatives. They want you guys to know that they have people at City Hall with Chair Williams working on that. Lots of communication with people in the city, just working on behalf of the students. And a shout out to our VP of Ainsley Broadwell. She's actually killing it. So if you see her, she's really advocating for those students. But yeah, they're doing great overall on the exec side. As far as for us, if you have not signed up for Replant, go ahead and do that. Today's the last day to do that. We're doing a big SGA group for Replant, and so it'd be really cool to see you all there. I know that well, I won't speak for it. I had a great time, but I hope that the people that came with me had a great time. It was really fun to explore our committee, see what SGA is doing. It's really broad. It's really cool that we get to be a part of it and affect what they're doing. All right, when you write legislation, make sure you cite the article and the section number and subsection number. That is what we're going to do continuing on. There's a precedent where you can just put the article. There's a precedent that you can just put the subsection, article, and the section. We're going to go with better is more words. So be as clear as you can be in all of your legislation moving forward so that there aren't any questions asked. And then finally, thank you all for going to City Hall and for coming to build. I really hope that these extra things that are happening with Senate are for your benefit. If you guys are able to take part in anything extra that we're doing, it really helps you buy into the mission of Senate and know that our reach goes a lot further than they told us going forward. And so I hope that we continue to do that down the line. Yeah, with that, I'm open for questions.
With that, do we have any questions for the presenter? Senator Dean.
Senator David, College of Arts and Sciences. For Replant, we have the afternoon session. Do you know what time that's at?
I do not, but I can get that answer.
Thank you.
Yes.
Senator Willis.
Senator Willis, on-campus caucus. Is there anything you're excited for with Senate coming up?
Oh, great. I think they're just excited for the end of the year and like the caucus leaders to kind of take their role on as we go into it. Right now, Chair Bertone and I are working on creating a document for all of the resources for those caucus leaders and who they should be contacting. So we're really looking forward to seeing kind of that will expand in what they can do on their school and residential to advocate for student body.
Senator Vivanco.
Senator Vivanco, Bush School, well, Replant has an opportunity to remove absences as well.
That's a great question. Wonderful question. It's going to committee right now, so I can't say yes or no. But potentially, yeah.
Sarah Adamack.
They're having off-campus caucus. Thing is not always coming up. Be more of like a chocolate kind of cake person. And we like some.
It's a wonderful question. Definitely chocolate person.
Any further questions? Seeing none, we'd like to thank the presenter for their presentation, and I would like to forward the chair back to Steve.
All right, with that, thank you guys all for being here. We're now going to move into a period of closing roll call. Who's leading the closing roll call? Okay, perfect. All right, this is great. Okay, this is Martha, everyone. Okay, as you can see, we're a little bit lacking in our personnel currently, but that's okay. We've got our ops committee here. So let's go ahead and do our closing roll call. Please refrain from packing up.
Hey, howdy, when I say your name. CJ Rayfield. Howdy. Peter Casino.
Howdy.
Pro Tem Tucker here. Chair Morton. Chair Wright. Chair Pam.
Howdy.
Chair Williams.
Howdy.
Chair Chu.
Howdy.
Chair Bertel.
Howdy.
Chair Hurd.
Howdy.
Chair Teets. Senator Vaughn. Senator Owen. Senator Smith. Senator Allen. Senator Jackson. Senator Royal. Senator Attaway. Senator Dewey.
Howdy.
Senator Richards. Senator Schmidt. Senator Williams. Senator Yost. Senator Yost.
Howdy.
Senator Collins. Senator Vivanco.
Howdy.
Senator Lamons. Senator Smith. Senator Wesley.
Howdy.
Senator Williams. Senator Long.
Howdy.
Senator Grimm.
Howdy.
Senator Alvarez. Senator Burnside.
Howdy.
Senator Hughes.
Howdy.
Senator Willis.
Howdy.
Senator Upperfields.
Howdy.
Senator Batten.
Howdy.
Senator Adamant.
Howdy.
Senator Barber. Senator Becker. Senator Brown. Senator Clark.
Howdy.
Senator Fleener. Senator Flores. Senator Garcia. Senator Glazer. Senator Glover.
Howdy.
Senator Hall. Senator Hicks.
Howdy.
Senator Pomeo. Senator Kelser. Senator Murray. Senator Pasek. Senator Page. Senator Sanders. Senator Hargrove.
Howdy.
Senator Maynard. Senator Williams. Senator Bassoni. Senator Bradley. Senator Cho. Senator Dow. Senator Medvedev. Howdy, I'm sorry. Senator Chuck. Senator Wells. Senator Wu. Senator Sanchez. Senator Sloan. Senator Steele. Senator Sykes. Senator Biden. Senator Wilkins. Senator Wertner. Senator Knott. Senator Lambert. Senator Eagle. Senator Lemasters. And then for the fish aids, Etch, Mendez, Morrison, Smith, and Strobel.
Let's thank him for his service. All right, with that, hold on just 1 second. I'm talking to the wrong crowd and I am so aware of that. But if you have any friends that are not here, please encourage them to be here because you're representing a lot of students and their voices are not being heard if they're not in here. This is a little disappointing, I won't lie. All right, with that, this meeting is adjourned.
What am I gonna turn it off?
Wait, you're good though. You can go.
Still good.
Also, how was it? Any stuff?
Oh, yeah. It's you. At that notice.
Thank you.